Welcome to the Farmers Branch Chamber Chat. Today we have President and Dr. Harvey Castro and CEO Lori Guerrero with us from Trusted ER. How are you guys today?
Great, thank you.
Well, so first we just kind of open up, tell us a little bit about your business, what makes you distinct from other medical facilities. It seems like the pop-up ER has become a very popular thing. So tell us just about your organization and what makes you guys unique.
Sure, you want to go ahead?
Sure.
Here at Trusted ER, I'm proud to say that it was started by a doctor and a nurse. And I want to start with that because when you look at healthcare, you got to understand when certain locations are built by a business person, they treat it like a business. When you have a doctor and a nurse, we're focused on the patient. And I know that sounds cliche-ish, but what makes us stand apart from all the other FSCDs out there are Lori and I sat down and looked at all the things that we hated about healthcare, all the things that we didn't like going to the big hospital system. And we sat down and said, these are the list of things that we just don't like in the experience. And let's work on these things. And so from the top down, from the two owners all the way down, we spent a lot of time just educating our team, every doctor, every nurse, every front office, every single person to replicate what we want that vision to be, which is Trusted ER. Lori, you want to add anything?
No, I think that says it great. It says that we take the business philosophies of running a business and we make sure that our daily focus is the experience that the patient is having. And so with our education and training and passion being in healthcare of taking care of patients, we've brought that as the center focus of even our business practices that we use at the ERs.
That's awesome. So thank you guys so much for meeting with us today. We like to focus. We like to focus very much on leadership. And, thank you, right? It's definitely a privilege to have the founder, the president, CEO with us from Trusted ER. So what makes your leadership team different? And we'll kind of evolve that into some more questions, but right, we really believe that organizations, right, are top down. And so that's going to reflect within the local ER. So what do you feel is your unique offering as leaders?
I think it's really great that Dr. Castro and I, no matter how much growth we have in the company, we're still a doctor and a nurse at heart. And so you will find me working at the bedside taking care of a patient. Dr. Castro will jump in and work as a doctor. And so that keeps the connection real. And we kind of ask all of our leaders to do that. Anybody that's in a management position has to still be able to jump in and do any of those other roles, especially when it comes to taking care of the patients.
And I think just leading by example, just to add to what Lori just said, having the doctor set the example, having the nurse set the example, and then having the leaders says a lot. So when your leaders are, often Stu and I will find ourselves picking up the trash, cleaning up, doing whatever it needs to be done. And it doesn't matter that we have a role or anything. Our role is to take care of the patient. And I think often you'll see other organizations that maybe the CEO president may not do anything with the actual patients. Whereas we're intimately involved. We want to make sure that every experience is amazing. And if it isn't, we want to make sure what can we do different? What can we do better?
Wow, that's powerful. I don't think I've ever been to a medical facility in which the president or the CEO have paid me a visit. So that definitely, I'm sure, has a positive impact on your entire staff. So that's unique. So what do you guys do for yourselves personally as leaders? So we'll break this down a little bit. Over the last year, I think for most people it's been tough. I'd imagine for you two in the medical industry, it's been exceptionally tough. What attributes or character skills do you feel like have been honed or developed, or maybe were glaringly in your face that weren't there or needed some help or improvement as you navigated this last year?
Sure. So I think it's important, especially the stress of the last year in the medical field. We as a leadership team, as a caregiving team in healthcare, we had to make sure that each other was okay. And so checking on each other, are we all doing okay with the stress and what's going on? And then making sure that our families are okay and making sure that we're checking on each other's families are important as well. And so our team as caregivers for our patients, we're making sure we're okay. And then we're making sure that each of us have things in order at home and with the ones that we love around us, that they're okay. And so that's important to us. And so making our work family an extension of our family was important to us this last year to really address a lot of the stress that was going on with everybody.
And to add to that, I believe firmly it's all about education. I think if your leaders are showing compassion to each other and showing that, hey, we're here as a family. Laura and I have large families, and I think we value family. And with that, we also combine that with our healthcare system. And we know when COVID hit, there was a lot of unknowns. People didn't know what was going on. And so we were the first company, and I think still here in the AFW, to create a free online NBC and Telemundo basically had a hotline, and it was anyone that had questions about COVID. And this was back in March when no one knew anything. And so we spent a lot of time educating the population so that that fear factor would go away and so that they knew if they needed anything. And the nice part is we were actually reaching out to El Paso. I didn't realize that our circumference was so big. So we're helping people outside of DFW, which really made us really excited to know that something that we built was helping others.
Wow, that's awesome. Innovation and right, I think there is power in being very family oriented around, yourselves and checking on each other as well as your staff and team. So thank you for, I don't know, on behalf of your people, I'm always touched to hear what leaders are doing for their employees and their staffs through this time. We've heard just some wonderful stories. And do you guys have any phenomenal stories that you'd like to highlight? Obviously don't violate any HIP or anything, but I'm sure you guys have seen some really neat stuff.
I think generally, I'll jump in and say a couple of points. I know, again, it's just some of the basic things. Some of the testing at the beginning were how can we test for COVID? Well, honestly, we were the first company out in DFW to start testing our patients. And just being in the forefront, instead of being reactive, we were proactive. And I think that sets us apart. Laura and I feel so comfortable with what we're doing as physicians and healthcare leaders that we know that we can set the tone. Let's create the new wave. No one knows what to do, so why not us do that change? One of the first things we did our first mobile unit. We were going out, helping out different people with COVID. Some of the big companies needed their workforce to come back, so we would go to their workforce.
Wow.
As far as, it's awesome. And then as far as patients, it was great because here it is, there's a big need, and we had to change the way we did business. And I think thinking outside the box, thinking differently, I think having a person like Lori is great because she's thinking ahead of the times and saying, how can we work? And then together, I always say this cliche is, I always think of tomorrow, she thinks of today. I think today, you need both of those. You can't deal just with today without thinking of tomorrow. And you can't plan for tomorrow if you don't plan for today. So I think having two people that really focus on that is key.
Agreed. I think that it's been really great for all of our healthcare providers when all of this hit last year. They really took it, and whatever it is that we needed to do, they were up for it. They're like, this is what we do. We take care of people. So we just adapt and we change as quickly as we need to in order to make the changes that we need to make in order to still do what we do at the very best. And so I was really proud of all of our providers and our staff and our management that was able to step up and do that for us this whole last year, just like they always have.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You guys really seem like a dynamic team together. So thank you. Thank you for serving our community. Thank you for being on the forefront of this pandemic and trying to figure out what works with innovative and be willing to, serve, right? I know that you said not Telemundo or what was it? The telehealth kind of programs are probably tough, so that's neat. Let's talk about, again, what else? We're just keep diving into kind of leadership with you guys. So how do you grow yourselves personally, professionally? How do you have that work-life balance idea, or has that kind of just gone out the window? What's kind of your philosophy or your style around, number one, taking care of yourselves, taking care of your family, and growing personally and professionally?
So I think taking care of ourselves, we've made it really important. Judge Castro said it earlier. It's really important for us and our management team and all of our work family here that when you need time, you take time. You need time with your family, you take that time with your family. And so we've made that really important amongst everybody here, that everybody's going to need time away and they're going to need time to spend with their family. And that's important to everybody. And so we want to make sure that everybody has that time. And so that's one of the priorities that we have. And that's something that we've said as an organization also, is when it's after hours, when it's off time, and we're not talking about work, answering emails in the middle of the night. We've pretty much put a rule to that, unless it is an emergency, in which we do have some emergencies in the middle of the night or on the weekends. We do, but if it can wait until tomorrow and it doesn't need to be handled right now, then for the sake of everybody's work-life balance, we don't do things in the middle of the night or early Saturday mornings when that is family time. And that's important for us and for the longevity of the health of our staff. And so we've made that a priority here.
I think it's so important that, for me, I can be sometimes type A and I just want to work. And Lori has taught me, hey, it's time to make sure you take time for yourself, because if you can't, you're not gonna be able to help others. And with that said, I think it's really important. I think as leaders, you want to help each other. I think it's important to lead by example, but it's also important to teach. I've learned a lot over the years with Lori, just telling me, hey, this is the way things are done. As an ER doctor, I look at things as a doctor, maybe not necessarily differently. So it's just different for me. But I think my goal is here. She's teaching me, she's explaining. I'm also teaching her other things. And so together we're building each other. And I think that's the end message that I'm trying to say. Leaders out there, build your leadership team. Lead them so well that you're not even scared of someone else leading to the point where they may be replacing you. Because at that point, you've done a good job. So during this time of the last year, we've had to wear many different roles. And that's the key also to success, being able to do things differently. We're not scared to maybe set the tone, to do something for the first time that no one else has done. And I think that's such an important leadership skill.
I think that's a really great point too, is everybody's had to jump in and learn other roles too. And so what a dynamic team that we have, that not everybody is just in one box, but at any given point in time, they've done some other part of the organization's roles and responsibilities. And that makes them more diverse. It makes them more well-rounded, having more skills, more that they can offer to the team overall. And so that's been really great over the last, probably since Trusted ever began, is we had, all of 3 or 4 people doing many different jobs at any point in time.
And to elaborate your other point, is so true. You need to take time for yourself. You need to make sure you're eating, you're sleeping. Believe it or not, if you're not sleeping, that can increase your weight, increase your stress, increase the way you do things. So we take our time, make sure that we're taking times for ourselves. And Lori likes to run. I know I like to go for walks and work out. And that does help. Because if we're building ourselves individually and saying, hey, I'm a better person today, then we're going to be a better leader tomorrow. We'll be a better leader when we're in the office.
That's awesome. I'm going to chime in a little bit. Let's cut you guys off there a little bit. First of all, Lori, I'm going to comment on something you said earlier. I bet that's sometimes hard. You work in a true business where an email at 10 o'clock at night could be really important. For me, I run a chamber, and, it's hard for me to not answer or handle emails at 10 p.m. And there's probably no true emergencies in the chamber world like there are in the medical world. So maybe I should take a page from your book and just say, nope. It's closing time. Sorry, guys.
If it was a true emergency, they know my phone number. They'll call me.
Or they should put the email 911.
Yes. But we put the emails down at night.
Awesome. So what are your plans? I guess the question goes to either of you, whether that's Dr. Castro or Lori, to expand. I mean, you guys have 8 independent ERs plus the hospital in Mansfield. Tell us a little bit about, the history and then the growth and what you see as the future vision for the organization.
So, yeah, like Dr. Castro said earlier, I'm the today person and he's the tomorrow. So today, yes, we said a little bit of the history. Trusted began as one freestanding ER building, and that was our intent, to have 1, maybe 2 buildings. We do have 8 now that are open and operational and providing great care to 8 different communities of DFW, and we're so proud of that. Our location in Mansfield is licensed as a hospital, so we're able to provide even more services for people. We do have up and coming service lines that include urgent cares. This year we've really focused on pediatrics. Our little people are very important to us in our life, and so one of the branches is pediatrics for us, and so we've focused that throughout all of our service lines, but especially even being able to bring pediatrics in a home where kids feel they're safest and most comfortable, that we can take take care of them there. We do have up and coming growth. We are planning on just expanding out even more. And I'll let Dr. Castro talk a little bit about what his future vision is.
The main goal is the patient. And with keeping that in mind, we're expanding our communities out here in DFW. So we're looking to grow here in DFW, but we're also looking at new service lines. So surgical center, we're looking at in Keller later on this year. We're also looking to see how can our trusted culture expand. And what I mean by that is we're doing what's best for the patient. So at the end of the day, we want to make sure that whatever it is, we're growing. And so what I'm pleased to announce is that other businesses throughout the state of Texas and throughout the United States are calling us and saying, hey, we want to be part of Trusted. We want to learn this culture. We want to be part of your company. So we're looking at expanding outside of DFW so that we can make sure that we help other communities. Now, with that said, we want to make sure that the patient's always first. So if we're growing too fast, then we'll actually slow down or maybe actually stop. We want to make sure that the end product is the patient. And whatever that is the right thing to do for that patient. If we start seeing that these things are not growing the way we want to, then we'll stop them. But the main goal for the future will be to expand it to different services. You mentioned urgent care, pediatrics, surgical center. We're looking at other types of urgent cares and other business models. So it's all exciting.
Wow. Awesome. Well, and just, a shout out to you guys. First of all, thank you for being part of our chamber. For those of you in the Farmers Branch, Northwest Dallas area, our location is the primary ones closest to us is the Valley Ranch. And that's one of the ones that you guys have the urgent care pediatrics available as well as the trusted ER. So first of all, thank you for being part of our chamber. Thank you for being part of our community. I'm going to shamelessly also give Tommy a shout out. He's just been great, engaging and supporting our chamber and our organization. So for what it's worth to you guys, he's a great representative of you. So can I ask just a little bit, this is kind of an off-cuff question, but, I know you guys are members of numerous chambers. What do you feel is the value? Why do you make that investment all across the Metroplex?
So that's a great question, because I was just about to say we are actually honored to be a part of the chamber, because it is part of our platform to be in the communities. We're here to take care of the patients, and we're here to take care of the communities in which we have our locations in. As part of that, it is being a part of the business community as well as just the community overall. As much as we can get involved with the communities around our buildings, that's what we're here for. Build those relationships, build the relationships with other businesses. We want to be easy to do business with. And so whether that's learning opportunities, that's education opportunities, or if that means that you have a medical emergency somewhere in your community or in your businesses, we're here to take care of you for that also. One of the things that we really try to do as a business is make those business relationships reciprocal both ways. And so, yes, we want you to come to us when you're not feeling well, because we know that we do that really well, and we're going to take care of you. But if there's a need that we have for our business in the community, we're going to look to those relationships through the chamber to say, who can provide us with these services that we're needing? Because it is that reciprocal relationship, and we want to build that, and we want to have that trust with the community around us that we do business with people that are in our community, because that's what's expected of us as a responsible business in our community.
Sitting with the chamber and talking to the different businesses is a great forum just to see what the community needs are and how we can help. Through these chamber events, we've been able to find out, hey, there's a marathon. Maybe we can have a stand there. Hey, there's this need of a little league going on at this particular park, and they have a need. So then we can come in and help. I'm big on education. So I know when COVID happened, it was like, hey, let's go into the community. Let's give talks. So I encourage anyone listening, if you guys need anything with healthcare, let us know and see how we can help.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. And we definitely appreciate it. I know many of our, members enjoy reading. We get the little clips usually every week that we add to our newsletter, and what a great quick how-to informational little snippet that they can grab. So I feel like that's just kind of a neat way that you guys add value and right, like it adds value to your brand, I'm sure, as well. So that, again, I think that goes back to what you were saying, Lori. It's definitely a very positive and reciprocal relationship, and we're grateful for that. Alex Segal just popped on. He says, thank you for being involved. And apparently you have a stalker, Dr. Castro. He says, nice news clips on TV. So
thank you.
Alex is the chairman of our board.
I met Alex.
Yeah.
He's been at many of our openings of our ERs. Thank you, Alex.
Awesome. So we're just going to give you guys a couple minutes, open floor. What I always like to ask of everyone is just what words of encouragement might you have for anyone out there? Whether it's a parent, a single mom who's struggling, maybe it's somebody in the medical field, maybe it's another leader, another CEO. What words of encouragement could you just kind of offer that, our goal as a chamber is to send a message of hope, and we're going to get through this together. So I'm just going to open the floor for you guys to encourage our audience.
I'll jump in. I'm a big learner. I think I'll go back to education. I think it's a lifelong learning. I don't think you settle to whatever position you have, whatever you're doing. I always think there's always room to improve. And then once you get to that point, there's more room to improve. So I encourage everyone to always learn. There's so many resources out there with YouTube, with social media, LinkedIn. Just make it your best. I know the business world was something new for me. So I went back to school last year, and it helped going back to school, believe it or not. But I would encourage you don't necessarily have to go back to school. I'm just saying, just improve yourself.
And I think my words of encouragement would be your attitude and your approach to things can have a lot to do with the overall outcome and success of where you get to and where you want to be. Life is always going to have challenges. Business, professional, personal, you're always going to have challenges, and it's how you approach those. It's your attitude towards those that, hey, I can find a way around this challenge. I can find a way to overcome this that's in front of me. I'm going to use the resources that I have. I'm going to use those relationships and associations that I've made in my life, and I'm going to get through this challenge just to be even stronger and ready for the next challenge that's going to come up, because there's always going to be something that's coming our way. And so it's how we approach it, and it's how we overcome it, and how we take what we learn from those challenges and move forward for the next ones. It's just going to make us stronger going forward.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. And just open floor. Anything else that you want to say, whether it's about your company, anything at all? This is your shout out.
I think I'm going to jump in and we'll go back and forth. I think one of the other ones is it's important to celebrate your wins. I know Lauren and I have worked really, really hard, and then we stopped and like, wow, we're at 70 hours. Where did the time go? And I think it's important to celebrate. So you know what? We're doing what's best for our patients. We're doing what we can to serve this community. And sometimes we get caught up in the daily things, but you don't look at the bigger picture. Sometimes you just have to stop and say, you know what? We're blessed to have such an amazing experience. We have a great team working with us. We have great healthcare providers, and we're doing what we thought from day one, which is how can we help people? And here we are, years later, helping hundreds of people now a month that are coming through. So I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think that's also we're doing what it is that we love to do, which is take care of patients, and we're just getting to do it. We are blessed to get to do it on the grand scale that we're able to do it now, which is hundreds of thousands of patients a month that we're able to take care of, and we take every single one of them personally. So we're here to make sure that our facilities are there to provide the best care for every patient that comes in our door each and every time. And that sounds like a hard promise to make, but that's the promise that even from here where we sit, that's why we started all of this, is so that each patient coming in our building would get something special, would get something unique, and would get all of our attention. And so that's what we do, and it's really a privilege for us to do that. And if anybody ever needs anything, even if it's just ask a medical question and you're not sure WebMD is telling you the right answer, you can call me and Dr. Castro, and he'll be happy to do that and even answer your questions.
One thing I think we are really big on is serving our community, and just to echo some of the things that we're doing. We started a podcast, and that podcast is specifically to help. How can we educate? How can we do certain services better by maybe explaining it via podcast? We're doing blogs. We're having all this content. I'm proud to say that all this media information that we're having on nutrition, on just different topics, we're doing it in-house, and we're using it as an educational tool because we want local patients to say, hey, this is Dr. So-and-so. Hey, this is so-and-so nutritionist. Yeah, I've been there before. So that's what we're doing. So if you have a need out in the community, please email us, text us, call us, and let us know how we can help.
That's awesome. And I'm going to give my 30-second testimonial. I actually visited your facility back in May of last year, and I'm allowed to violate my own HIPAA in case anybody wants to question my life choices right now. But I went for the antibody testing. I think that was when it was brand new. I might have been I think I was the first patient at Valley Ranch to have that done. And I will say, it really was a great. I don't go to the ER often, so I have a lot to compare it to. But it really was a great experience. The rooms were nice. I know that that's kind of one of your signature things. It's almost like having a little plush, very cozy place. And so anyways, I had a really great experience with your staff and with your facility. I got in quickly. I got out quickly. They were great. So for what it's worth, there's my 2 cents on my experience with Trusted ER up to this point.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
And if anyone needs to join us in the future, we're here every Tuesday at 2 p.m. highlighting our local businesses and community leaders. Let us know how we can serve and support your business. Have a great day.